What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to bring you a long-term review of a product that doesn't cost that much, but I think is one of the best bangs for your buck out there when it comes to CPU coolers, and it is the Noctua NH-L9. This is their X65. It has 65mm fan on it. This is their low profile, budget-oriented CPU cooler. It costs $40. Sometimes it goes on sale for $35, but generally you will pay $40 for it. And I want to explain to you why I think it's one of the better CPU coolers out there, especially if you're not overclocking or wanting to spend a ton of money. Currently I have a Intel i5-9400F, I believe. It's a 6-core, I believe it's an 8th generation processor, but it's not overclockable. You could probably overclock it a little bit, but it's not a K series. So that's what I've been using for this, and I think this is the best bang for your buck. I had to get a low profile one because previously the Noctua cooler that I had for a while was too big and wouldn't fit in my Corsair 280. So I went and picked this thing up. So I thought I'd show you guys what is in the box and kind of give you my impressions of it over the past, I've had it around a year, so kind of give you my impressions of what it's like over that past year. So let's jump in, see what's in the box, just so you guys know what you get when you purchase this. So I thought I'd give you a quick idea of what you actually get in the box of this. Just have some information here. Again, it has your dimensions on one side, 6-year warranty. This does come with a 6-year warranty, and it's basically compatible with just about any of your ITX motherboards and cases out there. Won't block your RAM or your graphics card, which is really important, especially if you're in a tight space and don't have a lot of room. Some of the stuff's not going to be in this box, obviously, because it's actually on the computer. But I kind of wanted to give you an idea of what you get. The CPU cooler will be on here. Very well packaged. Noctua, again, excellent company. They really know what they're doing. And basically, you'll get your installation guides for AMD and your Intel sockets. So you got your Intel, your LGA 20 series, and then your 1151 or 1150, whichever one you're using, and your AMD. You have all the mounting stuff that you need to actually install any type of CPU onto this. You get your Intel AMD. It comes with your thermal paste, comes with a little Allen wrench, and then you have a little fan header there if you need that. And basically you'll have a bunch of parts in here. So everything, I feel like I got a little bit of extra of everything. So this will be your, I believe this is for the LGA 20, like if you have a 2011 series sockets. And I actually never used the thermal paste because I already had some previously, but you'll have extra thermal paste if you need that. And then you got your fan extender and connector there if you need that. Comes with a screwdriver. I did not need that. I kind of wish they would not put this in here. Most people have a screwdriver. It just seems a little bit wasteful, but you know, that's just my opinion. Your mounting hardware for your AMD, and then your little spacers here for your different socket. And that is it. That is what you get in the box. You have everything you need to mount any type of system or CPU you want. So basically whatever CPU you have, you will be able to mount this thing. We went over what is in the box. My initial thoughts on this is that it runs extremely cool. I will show you guys some temperatures when it's idling and when I am actually using it and pushing it. So now as for the cooling of the Noctua NH-L9, this is, again, I'm running a Core i5-9400. It's a standard 6-core processor, and this is generally about what I get idle temperature wise. It usually hovers around 33 to 40 degrees. It will get up a little bit in the 40s if you're pushing it, but that's just generally what you get idle wise. So what I'm going to do here is actually go through and render a video, which if I show you here will basically max out the CPU. So I'm going to let this run for a little bit and show you the temperatures, but you can see how they climb, and generally this is about what they run at, is they barely get to 60 degrees. Sometimes they'll get up to around 65, but as you can see, the motherboard is also cooled by the cooler because it blows directly onto it. So that stays really cool, and the CPU is really the only thing that gets a little warm, but these temperatures are well within range of the 100-degree threshold. So even with this CPU, you could probably put an 8, 12 core processor in here and overclock it and still have a lot of headroom. It is extremely quiet, very well designed. Again, CPU is still maxed out here, and so far everything. Generally, I'll just go through and render a whole video and the temperatures will stay around 65 degrees. They generally do not get higher than that. I've never got this CPU up to 70 degrees with this cooler on there. Again, not overclocked, it's just at its standard speed. So that's what kind of temperatures you can expect to get if you're running a standard 6-core processor without much overclocking, or no overclocking, that is. And overall, it is extremely cool running cooler. My CPU generally idles around 35 degrees. And then it can push up to 65 when you push it, and that's if I'm doing long renders. So if I'm doing like a 20-minute render of a video, that maxes the CPU out at 100%, and it will generally run at that 60 to 65 degree point, which is well below the threshold of 100. You have a ton of headroom with this cooler. You do not need to spend a ton of money on a water cooler that costs $150, $200. This $40 cooler, even if I'm pretty positive, even if you had a K-series processor in there and you were overclocking it, it would have no problem cooling it. It does have a 65mm low profile fan, which isn't the biggest fan out there, so I was a little worried about noise, but I will show you a clip here. I have the microphone literally right on the cooler and it is fairly quiet. I don't hear the fan of the CPU cooler at all. I mainly hear the fan from the graphics card. I don't know why, but that's generally the most noisiest fan in the system. It's 100% RAM compatible with all the RAMs. You're not going to have any issues with any type of RAM clearance. It's not going to overhang on that. It's overall, I think, a pretty good design. Basically, the fan blows down into the motherboard, so it actually cools some of the motherboard while it is cooling the CPU. I've had no issues with my motherboard getting too hot or any type of problems there. It doesn't block your PCI cards. Even if you have an ITX motherboard, it will not block any of your PCI cards. So basically, you can put any type of RAM or graphics card into your system, even if it's an ITX, a smaller system, and it will overcome that. It does come with a 65mm PWM fan, which is nice. I like that. I like the PWM fans, which basically means that you can connect it to a fan header or a fan controller, and it will just go off of what your CPU and motherboard temperatures are. It's really simple. You just plug it in and the system kind of figures it out there. The mounting system is pretty easy. Some of these Air CPU coolers can be difficult to mount and install. I had no issues with installing it. Everything you need is actually in the box, so there's no problems there. You don't need to purchase anything separately. It does come with the thermal paste also, so you have thermal paste. So again, nothing needed. Once you get your CPU in this, you are good to go. It also comes with a 6-year warranty, which I really like. And Noctua is an excellent company. They have really good customer support, so that's why I generally stick with their fans and their CPU coolers if I can. The dimensions are 95 by 95 by 51, so if you're looking for a small design and you need to fit this into a small package, this is the CPU cooler for you. Really happy with it, especially for $40. Again, I would not recommend spending a ton of money on a CPU cooler because something like this, or one of their little bit larger ones, if you have a little bit of headroom and you can put a little bit larger ones. That's my only negative, is that it only comes with that 65mm fan. If it had 120 on it, it would probably cool a little better, a little quieter, but this is what I got, and I didn't want to spend a bunch of money because I was not into overclocking the CPU. So that's it. Extremely happy with it. I'll get you some shots of it. Again, I've had it for about a year. No issues with it since I've had it. I've never had any issues with any Noctua products, whether it be their fans or their coolers. And generally, those are the only type of coolers I've ever had on my system over the past 4 or 5 years is a Noctua. So that's it. Happy with it. Highly recommend it to anyone. Link is below if you'd like to purchase it. And that's it, guys. If you have any questions about this, comments, feel free to leave them below. Like this video if you want to see more videos like this. And have a good rest of the weekend, and I'll see you guys next time.